Phoenix Down Radio is on the air.
Welcome, everybody, to Phoenix Down Radio, episode number 156. I'm your host, Klauss Nightbringer, and joining me right now is Seyrr. What's going on, buddy?
I am feeling very chill tonight. It was a long afternoon at the library. Not bad. We're actually starting to get lots of people in again, but just
hopefully
long.
people are being safe.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge concern. You know, things happening that aren't, people are doing stuff that maybe they shouldn't be doing quite yet.
No, so the city I'm in, last I checked, which was actually like a month ago, the adult vaccination rate was over 90%. And even then, like, both the parents and the kids are generally being pretty good about mask wearing and things like that. And some of them have been really into our new play space, which is really nice.
Okay.
Like, they've been finding the little hidden sign language things in the mirrors. It's cute.
For those wondering, Taliz will be joining us. He's just running a bit late with things that he had to take care of. So, well, once he gets here, he'll jump in as soon as he can. But until then, well, we saw you last week, but for those of you listening on the podcast, how have you been since the last show? Other than working too much.
Pretty decent all in all. Trying to think of what's been going on. There was last week's festivities, which I'm sure we'll talk about soon enough. I haven't done that much in game. I have been making a vague effort in FF14. I've been making a vague effort at organizing my inventory in advance of Endwalker. It's one of those lies you tell yourself. Yeah, I'm just going to get everything sorted out, get the extra stuff sold off, have everything nice and clean.
No, you're not.
I mean, I am, because I regularly run with 100 open spaces or more, but I am also fanatically devoted to this kind of thing.
But for the average person, no, you're not.
Oh, yeah, it's not happening.
I really haven't been playing much other than what we played last week. But
yeah, like there's been like the usual pre-patch and pre-expansion lull, only even more so.
Yeah,
I think just because of how long everything's been dragged out over all this,
and getting even more dragged out, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah. Otherwise, I interviewed for full-time librarian, so we'll see how that goes. Though I do not feel like I have crushed an interview as hard as I did this one, and I look nice and professional and everything.
Oh wow.
But I am trying not to count chickens on that.
Well, we're still wishing you good luck and hope everything goes well with that.
Thank you.
As for
then
me,
I will have more money with which to buy stupid collector's edition type stuff.
Exactly.
Or, food.
Well, I mean, priorities.
Yeah.
Well,
how about you, Klauss? How are things?
I've been working too much. That's just kind of par for the course right now. When everybody is short-staffed, you kind of have to fill in where you can and do what you can to get it going. Other than
or
that,
quit your job without notice. That's a thing now, apparently.
I would probably be in a lot of trouble if I did that.
13th Amendment is a thing. They can't actually make you say.
No, but I would probably end up losing, a house that I just refied and a whole bunch of other stuff. I kind of like the stuff.
No, that's fair.
At least having the whole, roof over your head that's, stable and good. I like that.
Hey, if you're careful about where you set up the tent poles, it can be just as stable a roof as any other.
I'm going to say no.
We won't be doing that.
I'm going to say no.
We won't be doing that.
But other than that, we had Extra Life last week. And that really was a thing. We didn't go the 24 hours because, well, we crushed it. For those of you who were there and supporting us, thank you so much. We had a really good time. But we went for about 14 and a half hours. And thanks to your generosity during that time, we raised $1,085.
Pretty dang good.
That's just for that period. We started the day with $505. And when I hit the stop button, we were at $1,590. I mean, we absolutely crushed last year's total, where we hit 1,051. So thank you.
I don't think we can take all the credit for it, though. We had a great time with the folks of XIV Light Party. They had a dungeon rally event that was really a lot of fun. Lots of different community content providers doing that. We competed against, there was the XIV Light Party team themselves, Maelstrom and Moogle Go Round Radio teamed up, a couple others.
You mean Mooglestrom Go Radio?
Yeah, I'm still not quite sure how that portmanteau was supposed to work.
Well,
There's an M, there's an R, you got some letters, you make them a word.
you make it do things, yes.
Oh.
And then there was a couple other groups as well. I apologize, I cannot remember your names, but you were definitely some pretty amazing competition. So with that, the 5 teams of 4 competed against one another for the lowest total time across 6 different spooky themed dungeons, ranging from Tom Terra Deepcroft to the Siren Song Sea.
Yeah, given the proximity to Halloween, lots of stuff with ghosts, zombies, weird spooky stuff. Interesting format.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and the interesting little mechanic of the game was viewers could donate to either increase another team's time or decrease their favorite team's time. It was $5 per minute to decrease a team's time, but only $10 for 3 minutes of increasing a team's time. And you had to donate to the team.
Of sniping and counter sniping between some of the teams.
I'm
not saying that I spike donated $50 to boost Moogle Strum Go Radio's total, but I'm not saying that I did that. It was for a good cause, and everyone loves spite.
It was. And the winning team had an adjusted time, and I kid you not, of negative 16 minutes.
We broke time.
Yes, and it was us. It was myself, it was Seyrr, it was Nicknar, and we were also joined by the Lord God himself, Anonymous. Or would he be a Lord Demigod?
I mean, he sees himself as more of a cult leader than an actual deity, but I'm sure we can figure out what he prefers.
I know.
No, it's fine. It's fine. There's just some wellness seminars at the Ramada Inn by the airport. They're free.
God damn it. But yeah, I mean, it was amazing. As part of that, since we hit over $1,500, I kind of did make an agreement to sing 1,000 words on the stream sometime in the near future.
Oh, it'll be fine.
No, I'm probably gonna end up crying because of that song, but
I mean, it is a really pretty song.
But yeah, if you happen to miss the stream, there's still time to donate. We can take donations until December 31st, and do remember they are tax deductible. Maybe we can get over 2,000. And I was just thinking about this. I was putting the show notes together last night. You know, if we can double up last year's total, like I said, we raised 1,051 last year. So if we can hit 2,102, maybe I'll shave the beard.
Oh, the Crucible still has your nickname up on that from the last time you did that. It was unexpected.
Yes, but well worth it. I mean,
yeah.
And you know what? And I also thought if we can hit $2,500, I mean that's only, you know, $940 away. No, $910 away.
That's pretty doable.
Maybe I'll shave my head too. And by maybe, I mean I will shave it. So,
you know, I feel like you could rock that look.
I don't know. I have kind of an ugly head, but
everyone has an ugly head.
I would probably really freak some people out if I, you know, show up to work bald and beardless.
See, bonus.
Well, then you can just call me Mr. Clean.
There we go.
I mean, I already have the earring.
But yeah, the format was really fun, especially given for the dungeon rally thing. We were doing it at level synced minimum eye level. And it was so fun to turn from like, oh, right. It's like, I can't pull this entire room. Oh dear, we actually have to remember mechanics for the fights. We actually have to be a little strategic on some of them.
Yeah. I mean, It was actually challenging, and there were wipes. I think
There were a lot of wipes over a lot of teams.
We had like 3 wipes overall, I think.
Oh, we had more than that. Like just Hoke Manor hard. We had 2 there. One was during the trash on the last floor.
Oh yeah, I
We
forgot
had a
about
couple.
that.
Yeah, there were several wipes all throughout. Though none of us quite as bad as I think XIV Light Party actually ended.
Oh,
Yeah, they actually ended up with like over an hour for one of their dungeons. I think it was just brutal.
yeah, wasn't that Hawk Hard that they hit that on? We can
I actually still have the spreadsheet somewhere.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, let's go down to that.
No, nope. It was just under an hour in Sastasha hard.
Oh
mode.
yeah, that's right. They had such a hard time with the Scorpion boss.
Honestly, a lot of people had a hard time with the Scorpion boss.
We only died once. No, we
Yeah,
did, no. Or did we did wipe once on that one.
Yeah, but no, like there was, and this was. I know it was the case for us. From what I heard, it was the case for a lot of the others. Okay, how did this work? Calling out strategies. It felt like a real challenging thing again. Which for some of these ones, that again, like some of those I had just done over and over again for relic weapons to the point where it's like, whatever, it's this thing. So being a little bit afraid of it and having to actually think about what I was doing was actually kind of fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. So yeah, I mean the VOD is still up over on Twitch for another week or so. So if you want to hunt and choose and look for that area, it happened during the last 5 hours of the stream, I think.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it started at roughly 7:30 local time, which, like I said, about because we started at 10. So you do the math.
Oh, but yes, can recommend doing minimum eye level stuff. Adds a whole bunch of flavor and challenge to things,
especially if it's for charity.
Mm.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into some gaming community news. The Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster was released on the 10th. You can currently get it on Steam. It's on sale for $14.39. Or you can go to Google Play or the Apple App Store and get it for $17.99. I
feel like I should make a butts joke, but I just got nothing coming.
Butts.
I'm done. Oh.
So yeah, if you can still get the full bundle on Steam for $75, so it's still cheaper if you want to get everything on Steam, go for it.
And why wouldn't you? I mean, there's probably reasons.
Because I want it on the Switch. That's why.
Oh, that's fair.
So
let's see. Final Fantasy XI also got a big November update. Fair amount of stuff in there. We of course marvel at the continued life that it has, but one big game changer in there, the addition of a system called Master Levels. This is a new job advancement system for jobs that have already reached the Job Master status previously available. The big thing about it is that with an increase in master level, you get to boost your attributes, your combat magic skill caps, and most importantly, for anyone who played FF11 and remembers, you'll be able to increase the maximum level of your support job. It's always been restricted to half the level of your main job, so there was just okay, this is what you can get from your support job, certain spells, certain traits, and having that number be able to increase again, just the having any job be able to access Black Mage ancient magic, those iconic spells, a lot of different traits that are available. It's something where it's again an unexpected jump in power that a lot of people are really excited about.
Yeah, especially for a 20-year-old MMO.
Yeah. No, a couple of the lore mongers that I know still dabble a bit in FF11, partly for nostalgia purposes, and they were just raving about the different things that they could do now. So yeah, it's honestly more power to them for being able to keep it going this long.
No, 100%. It's nice to see, nobody wants to see a mainline Final Fantasy game become unplayable.
Oh.
So
and just like
Go ahead.
When it's an online one, there's going to be like, someday this entire thing is going. It's not like something where you can say, okay, we're going to have a remaster of FF5 and we'll be able to play it again. Like, there's always the worry that at some point this world, like this game, this world is going to go away, and like all we'll have are the memories of it. So seeing it keep holding on is really encouraging.
Indeed. Now this one I just happened to run across as I was searching for Final Fantasy news. A gamer is playing the machinist job in 14 using a gun controller from Final Fantasy X-2.
I didn't even know they made one of those.
Yeah, it was a thing.
That is ridiculous, and I love it. So we've got like PlayStation, or I guess was it the PlayStation 2? PlayStation 2 controllers that are made to look like Yuna's guns from FF10
Mm-hmm. So basically, he ended up mapping triggers to different buttons that and then allows him to pull up menus, at which point he just reprogrammed it to do everything he needed to do, including the rotations.
So he can not only play FF14 Machinist with these gun controllers, but do it reasonably well?
Yeah. There's apparently going to be a full video available of this going up on their YouTube page. If you check out the article from PC Games, it will link to his Twitter, and you can see more about it. It's really quite interesting. So, more power to him.
We've got the people playing Dancer using actual DDR pads, and now this. Is there any link that they won't go to for more immersion?
I'm trying to think if there's any actual sword controllers. But beyond that,
if you could get like an old Wiimote and maybe like the crossbow thing for Link's crossbow training, and then you could do a lot of reworking on that, maybe that could be like a thing for Bard. I mean, a crossbow's not quite a bow, but
you're stretching it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of what other type of weird peripherals. There's the one from Babysitting Mama where you have the controller that's like an actual baby. I don't even know what job that would be. Summoner?
Maybe. Well, no, then it would be Paladin, because you'd be trying to control the party like a bunch of babies. I don't know. That was a stretch.
Oh, Nick Nar points out that the astrologian who had reworked a Yu-Gi-Oh card holder to be able to do his card draws.
Yeah.
That's another great one, yes.
Yeah. You people have too much time on your hands, but that's all right.
It's beautiful. I love to see it.
All right. And apparently there was something called Final Fantasy 14 Live Letter 67, which happened last week. We're going to go ahead and credit Nova Crystallis for our coverage of this. So thank you very much, guys, over there. You guys do an amazing job.
We'll try to keep it quick, since a lot of you, I'm sure, watched every moment of it salivating. But of course, they started with the news about the Endwalker delay. I think you've all heard about it by now.
Yep.
It's going to be pushed back 2 weeks. They talked a little bit about how because this is the wrap-up of over a decade of storytelling, they want to be extra careful with the quality assurance, make sure that you don't have any weird typos, that there isn't anything that's going to be detracting from the story. The community has actually been surprisingly chill about it, given that, hey, it's another 2 weeks. That's the type of thing that makes a lot of other communities erupt into rage.
Yeah.
But it really feels like people trust that they're going to come through on this, and that they really want that ending to do the journey justice.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a few people who are upset because they had already planned to take time off for early access, but
I certainly saw a lot of people griping a little and joking, but even then it was more of a, oh god, I hope my employer is going to be understanding, rather than, you suck for doing this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to cancel the 2 days off that I planned for around that time frame, because, well, I still need to do all that stuff and I have other things going on that day. But I was able to also add then the actual Friday of early access, so I can continue on and join everybody else at way too fucking early in the morning to try and get into the servers. And all that calls of hashtag first.
Woo. They'll be, of course, pushing back a couple of the other milestone things: Pandemonium, Savage Raiding, the release of new tombstones, all of that.
Yep.
Amusingly, All Saints Wake is now going to be in January. Technically, All Saints Wake is not actually Christmas, so it's totally fine if we move it around the calendar a bit, right?
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So yeah, it's actually going to be after Heaven's Turn at this point, I think.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. Of course, we have new launch trailer,
Yep.
full version of the music. They actually just posted the lyrics for that on the dev blog.
Yep, it's the same singer who sang the Shadowbringers theme. I can't his name. I should have written his name down because I cannot remember it. But dude, you're awesome. So
Yeah. Talked a little bit about some of the stuff to come, some newer things they mentioned. During certain quests, NPCs will be able to walk or ride mounts alongside you. And while they won't go terribly far from the objective, it's a little bit more of a chance. Instead of having, they're standing at one place, safe teleport around, now they'll actually accompany you, remark on what they're seeing. They're even planning to add support for G-Post during these quests because they know that we're all going to want to get our pictures with Alphino and Alice.
pass.
You stole it? Thancred? Urianger.
Yeah, definitely. No.
Everyone's buy for Urianger. They'll talk a little bit more about the various role quests. Those are going to be similar to Shadowbringers, both for the combat job.
Nick Narp in the chat pointed out it's Jason C. Miller, so thank you for that. Who sings the theme to Shadowbringers and now Endwalker.
Little bit about the role quests and the studium deliveries. Pretty similar to what we saw in Shadowbringers, with the only difference being that melee and ranged physical DPS will have separate role quest lines. They did mention that the individual jobs will not have level 90 quests. Their stories are pretty much done at this point.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course, they talked a little bit about new dungeons and trials, but they kept most of the details under wraps for story reasons. We did get to see things like a new treasure map dungeon, the Excitatron 6000 something or another. I don't know if that's supposed to be like a goblin thing or what. But it'll be interesting to see what sort of weird stuff we get to do, and if they'll maybe add some new types of treasure map mechanics to that.
I think they just said, let's pick a random word and a random number, and we'll put them together.
Yeah, they usually put more care into it than that, I hope.
No, they do. It's just kind of a very odd name.
Yeah, I am going to be curious as to what's up with it. Talked a little bit about PvP. The Feast PvP mode will be ending when 6.1 launches. Can't say I'll miss it. And in its place, they're going to be bringing in a new small-scale PvP content called Crystal Conflict. It focuses around short matches with simple rules that can be played casually. No role restrictions at all. Casual, ranked, and custom matches available, and the matchmaking will be skill-based.
Yep, and one of the biggest differences is while it's still small scale, instead of teams of 4 or 8, it's going to be a team of 5.
Yeah, team of 5 is actually... Given how we've had 4, 8, 24, having 5 for it, again, since there's no particular role restrictions, it's not necessarily going to be something with, hey, you need to have a healer, a tank. So they may be looking more at, hey, we're looking at the actual dynamics of the battlefield. Yep. The actual Crystal Conflict that they described is similar to Overwatch's escort game mode. You'll have 2 teams competing to claim a tactical crystal in the center of the map, and while the crystal is claimed by a team, it will move towards the other enemy team's base, get the crystal into the enemy base to win. They showed maps of Arena in Old Charlayan, but they mentioned that there will be several maps in various locations, some of which will have special gimmicks based on the battlefield.
Yeah, when they heard about this, the first thing that I thought of, though, was Team Fortress 2 and the escort modes there, and good old Heavy going, "Thank card no push itself."
And Nick Nar mentions that Paladins has a similar one that they called Push.
Yeah.
I've also seen it referred to as Payload in another game. I can't remember which one right now. So it does seem like we're adopting some more of those different styles. Those ones with a bit more of the unstable equilibrium of the kind of like fast-paced, easily accessible, open to everyone kind of thing. They mentioned that there will be more distinctive PvP actions as well as job-specific adrenaline rushes, which are the solo limit breaks. We'll get more details on that when we're closer to 6.1. But it does sound like they want to have a little bit more, okay, you are the Dragoon. This is your identity. You get to do this particular cool, flashy stuff. Which, again, feels like it'll be a bit more appealing to people who might not have normally participated in PvP
Bring
before.
back the pole dance. Bring back the pole dance.
They might. I'm sure they've still got the animation in there. They also mentioned that the reward structure for PvP in general is going to be changing significantly. Won't get into the details about it, but they said that their philosophy on the new system was to try to consider players who would want to generally focus on PvE content, but are going to be worried about missing those limited time rewards. And they did also talk about a new calling card system, which will display customized profiles for players before a match begins. These customized profiles may also make appearances outside of PvP. So as someone who likes to be a little bit flashy on the introductions, I am looking forward to messing around with that a bit. And they may be bringing back the Garo collaboration items. Talks are in progress for that, and stay tuned for more details.
All right. Now, I think that Taliz probably wanted to skip this portion of it, which is why he didn't show up on time. But he's here now, and so we're going to bring him in, and we're going to have to make a small change here. So give me 2 seconds, and click that, and... there. Oh, no, that's what I thought was going to end up happening.
Seyrr not appearing in this podcast.
Beautiful.
I thought you might appreciate that, but let me fix this.
So good.
Let me fix this for a quick second so we can actually see Seyrr again. But
Oh my god. Dear listeners and downloaded podcastees and everyone live on Twitch, can we just talk about the fact that I texted Klauss like an hour and a half ago and was like, yo, shit is sideways, I'm gonna be late, I don't know when I'll show up. And he just was like, hang on, let me make something really quick to just commit to the joke. That's
Beautiful.
fantastic. Thank you. That's fun.
I figured you would appreciate that. Let me swap the names here real quick. This is
Yeah,
what
you
happens
know
when
what?
we do this live. So
I'm just going to speed through the rest of this because, again, most of notable stuff for crafting and gathering beyond what we already mentioned, or what's already been mentioned before. Spearfishing is going to become an actual full-on minigame where you directly control a harpoon trying to catch fish, which should be much more engaging and immersive than what we had before. I'm kind of looking forward to it. Spearfishing was always just like, okay, harvest the point. Given how much more involved fishing was, spearfishing felt like an afterthought.
Spearfishing felt like I was mining, but underwater. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't need this. I want to actually do a different thing. Like, I would rather have mining have two separate things. And what's the other one?
Botany.
Botany. Like, I want botany to have two separate mini game things to do. Fishing got two. Why did not the other ones? So I'm glad that we're finally kind of expanding crafting or gathering a little bit. Because, yeah, gathering gets real boring. You binge through a lot of stuff while you're gathering sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes you're just like, hey, I'm going to dissociate for a while, and I've got an achievement.
And I have level 80, and oh god, how many fish do you have, Seyrr?
Most of them?
Uh-huh.
if not all of them.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Let's see. They mentioned that the experience points earned from all sources and required to gain levels will be downscaled. The actual time and duty clears needed to gain a level won't change. But the important thing is that as a direct result of this, any accumulated experience points between levels is going to reset to the start of a level when 6.0 launches.
Yeah.
That applies for all your classes and jobs, any retainers you have, and your trust NPCs. They talked a little bit about how preserving those partial levels would require rescaling the entire database and would need the game to be offline for 3 weeks. So if you're like 3/4 of the way to a level or something, just get the rest of the level before 6.0 drops. Or just don't worry about it. It's not that hard to get levels.
It seems
It's not that bad.
It seems odd though, because this is the 5th expansion question mark, and the first time this has happened.
Yeah. I mean, they've never actually been like, hey, we're going to do this big downscaling. They're doing downscaling on a lot of things.
You know what? Yeah, that makes that I just we answered the question. Yeah, it's because of the downscale. Yep, that makes more sense.
Yep.
Derp.
Might as well get all of it done at once, and then you don't have things that are overflowing various fields.
It's the same issue that we ran into when we switched from, what was it, PlayStation 4 can't play PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 2 stuff. It's the same issue with you can't put Gen 1 and 2 Pokemon into Gen 3. Like, there has to be a line of demarcation somewhere as we move forward in the tech. Otherwise, we are going to be forever stuck. And because we're changing the EXP so much, we are going to, you're losing that 40% of a level that you have or whatever.
Yeah. Much like with the 2-week delay, people are again being surprisingly chill about this one. Yep. I've seen a little bit of griping, but not much.
Welcome to the 14 community. We are very chill.
It's so nice.
Except for the vocal minority, but...
Yeet those people into the Black Desert. We don't care.
Yeah. But, I mean, one last thing. I mean, with the extra 2 weeks, that's more time to actually get your job up to that next level, so you lose less experience. Yeah. So
that's time. It's fine. Relax.
Exactly.
They did mention that Ishgard housing is going to be coming with the district layout based on the firmament, 24 wards and subdivisions as with the other ones. As of 6.0, the area will be available to tour and you'll be able to start deciding which plot you'd like. Land will be purchasable in 6.1. They're still looking to expand the housing service to add more wards and plots overall. Nice. They also gave us some more details about the massive changes that are coming to the land purchase system. With the start of 6.0, there will be no more relocating existing property to land that isn't available for purchase yet. So no jump start on that. You can't just claim a house and then immediately claim the one you want instead of having to wait for the timer to tick down. Starting with 6.1, they'll be implementing the lottery system. The dev team will be able to specifically designate plots to be either lottery-based or first-come, first-served. They're expecting most of them will be lottery, but they'll monitor and adjust if needed. I would imagine if the demand drops so low that the lottery is just becoming a hindrance. Mm-hmm. It will be limited to established characters and free companies, level 50 plus with a second lieutenant GC rank, or free companies of rank 6 plus with at least 4 members. You have to pay the entire price of the plot to enter the lottery. You may only enter the lottery for one plot during each lottery period, and you cannot withdraw after you have entered. So choose your plots wisely. If you do not actually get the plot, you will of course have your full price refunded, but they don't want people doing this just on a lark. If you're going to enter it, they want you to commit to it and be serious about it.
That's fair.
Yep. Various other changes were mentioned, most of them focused around preventing harassment and abuse. They did specifically note that attempts to interfere with others who are trying to purchase plots will be monitored, and that may be treated as harassment. And they acknowledge that this is pretty complicated, so they will be reviewing this in a lot more detail when we get closer to 6.1. But given that I know a lot of people have cited housing and things around it as one of the big lingering frustrations for the game, where it's like they had this dream of being able to do this that kept getting in the way of it, I'm expecting a lot of people to be a lot happier about this.
Same.
It feels more equitable.
It's a different system, and it's going to take some time to get used to, but I think overall it will be for a positive change.
Yeah. It feels more equitable, and I'm happy with that.
It's a lot better than clicking on a signpost for 24 hours.
We have lives, damn it.
And then some crazy bastard rolls up, clicks on it once, and buys your house. That's always fun.
Yeah.
Or some crazy bastard transfers location to the house, sets up a retainer in front of it with a bunch of overpriced things in hopes that people who are using bots to try to get it will buy all their stuff. This apparently has happened repeatedly.
I can't say that I hate that.
Don't hate that at all. That's pretty great.
I also,
at the same time, I don't like the idea of like I'm not a huge fan of people using housing bots, but having them lose like billions of gil for it feels a little too harsh.
Well, they're botting, so tough.
I don't give the death penalty to everyone who jaywalks. Just like, the ones who are dicks.
Bots don't jaywalk, though.
Fair.
Oh my god, there's so much that we could unpack, but there's other things to talk about tonight.
Yeah, more interesting things.
Yeah.
Oh, and they did mention the opening of the Oceanian Data Center February of next year. So, like around 3 months for that. The data center will be called Materia, and the worlds will be treated as new worlds. So, you get all those various things, the free transfers, experience point bonuses, all of that fun stuff.
Maybe we
That's
should go
nuts.
over there and create characters and then experience what their lag was, coming to our servers.
Oh god, because that's what Oceania is going to be. What, Australia, New Zealand,
Yep.
parts of Southeast Asia.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't need to have that much empathy. I'm good.
Dude, I played on the freaking European servers when I was playing with the KupoCon FC, and I was just like, this is unbearable. And I literally just didn't play for 2 months, and then immediately paid the $25 to come back to Hyperion because it was so bad.
How Chili does it is beyond me. I think he also uses a VPN, I think, which helps a little bit, but still, I mean, there's going to be that. There's always going to be that lag because it still takes the same amount of time to go from here to there.
And finally, they mentioned that they are, of course, working on patch 6.1, constructing a new adventure. Since 6.0 is, of course, the conclusion of the Heidelin Zodiark story, 6.1 will be starting some brand new story, and they're already working on that. They did mention that a certain gentleman will be reappearing in patch 6.1. No
Good,
idea what that could
I actually want to play.
be.
They do what they can to draw you back in.
Damn it.
It's a drug, man. It's a drug.
Hey,
And I'm
hey,
just
hey.
sitting here like, but grad school. And they're like, but Hildy. And I'm like, damn it.
I mean, like-
Da-da-da-da.
They designed it to be. They've designed it so you could be like, you know what? I am just going to do it for one weekend, and I'll get through the stuff, and that'll be fine.
You can always do it on a free return weekend.
Yeah.
Thinking that's probably what I'm going to end up having to do, just because September doing 2 games of D&D, 2 games of Final Fantasy Tabletop, 2 podcasts, plus 10 weeks of class in 4 weeks. I couldn't see straight. It was bad.
And that's how they drag you in.
All right. I just want to note that we have finished going through live letter summary, and it is only 40 minutes into the show.
Ooh.
But we have some pretty banging music to get through, so.
I mean, like, I feel like that's a record for us. I'm proud.
Yeah.
Summarizing is good.
Well, the fact that, Seyrr actually did take and summarize this and he reduced the size of our show notes by about 5 pages or so. So
It was like 7 pages.
Yeah, it was a lot. I
Somebody-
opened the notes while I was working, and I looked at it, and I'm like, oh, sweet heaven. And then I just see, like, JB just, like, running around editing stuff, and I check it again in 2 hours, and it's like, oh, that's different. All right.
that's why,
Summarizing is an art. Thank you.
and that's why
It
it's nice
is.
to have a reference librarian on the staff.
Absolutely freaking truth, man.
And Nick Nar in the chat pointing out that clearly the gentleman we're waiting on is Briarden.
Oh man, a follow-up to the Scholasticate quests. I'm there.
Well-
Dude, it was 12 hours of content to get an emote where you could look like a rich Japanese boy, like, and to do the glasses push.
Yes, totally worth it. Also, you got some stuff about politicking and intrigues in the Holy See.
That would be a thing he would be
Almost
into,
like-
isn't it?
It's good stuff, punks.
I don't know if I'd call it necessarily good, but it's a thing.
So, shall we talk about some music?
Yeah, we should probably talk about some music. I should mention this before we finish off Final Fantasy IX. I do have some new additions to the collection so we can expand the different music that we talk about. I did purchase the soundtrack for Final Fantasy 12, so we'll have that available to us.
Shit. Sweet.
And I also purchased the one for Final Fantasy X too.
Excellent.
Well, I mean, it's going to come in handy now that I've kind of committed to singing 1,000 words, so.
Dude, I admire the fact that you have put real Earth dollars into something that you are on record known to absolutely hate. That's pretty amazing.
I don't think I ever said hate. But it's my least favorite Final Fantasy.
Out of 97 games?
Yeah, I like Final Fantasy Adventure much better than it.
Ouch. Oh,
Wow. I'm not sure where to go with that. I'm sitting over here like, how do I rip on Explorers? I really want to rip on Explorers, and I'm like, wow, shit, you came out blazing. There's nothing I can do with that.
What?
yeah.
I thought it was a cute game.
It is cute. I actually liked Seiken Densetsu's Final Fantasy entry via weird naming convention. It wasn't bad, but yeah, 10-2 is definitely a choice that was made. Also, I know we talked about it in the notes, but I am here. Did we talk about the Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster?
Yes, we said that it's
Briefly.
out.
Holy
We
mother
acknowledge that it exists, but
crap.
We
It's
acknowledge it
so
exists. If
good.
you want to talk more, you totally should.
It's so the soundtrack for all the Pixel remasters has been redone by Uematsu, as we mentioned for the first 4, and they have Time Warp remixes available where they use the original soundtrack and the new soundtrack, and they're blending them together seamlessly partway through the
Ooh.
course. So we get things like Battle on the Big Bridge
Oh.
and Our Way as tracks for this one, where we also got like Theme of Love from the last one and the Theme of Eureka from 3. But yeah, Battle on the Big Bridge is a freaking adventure, and yes, you're right, Seyrr, my healing strategy is reset. It sucks.
Yeah. Marvelous is playing through using the 4-job Fiesta rules. What'd you have? A monk, a time mage, a geomancer?
And a Dragoon!
Right.
I have gotten... Yeah, I'm going through a lot of potions, man. It's bad, but I don't have to buy, like, weapons for anybody, because everybody was a monk for so long that they're just going to be unarmed for the rest of the game. So all of the weapons are just sellable, so, like, it kind of worked. But I've never started with a monk. I've started with a warrior, I've started with a white mage, and I've started with a black mage. I've never had a monk start for a Fiesta, and that was definitely an experience. Getting a time mage as my second job, I'm able to use the rod break trick, where you can break a weapon and cast a level 3 version of the spell, which is how you usually do the speed run and cheat your way through a bunch of stuff. But now I have access to that, so I can cast Blizzara at level 3 for 1,000 gil pretty easily, so that's helped a lot. But even so, like, the Liquid Flame... Klauss, I'm actually going to tap into you a little bit, and Pyrocats is going to understand this a bit too. When you're designing software that's supposed to do something, and you tell it to do something, and it has a multi-step process that's 4, 8, or 12 steps long, it's just going to do all of those things. And if you put in a new input, it does that as step 13. It doesn't do that when you put it in. It finishes its first run through of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Makes
Back in
sense.
the line.
Right?
Wait your turn.
Okay. Don't keep clicking print. Just fix your printer, right?
Yeah.
So imagine what happens when you have 4 monks and you have 4 people with counter, and you're fighting something like Liquid Flame that does an AoE attack every time it changes forms.
Sheesh.
So I hit it with Gravity on turn 1 and knocked its HP in half, which means that it was going to trigger 2 form changes.
Damn, I didn't know gravity even landed on that thing.
It did. It landed twice, and then I punched it for the last 400 hit points it had. It was great. Except that I never attacked with my monks. I just used Chakra across 3 people and used Gravity twice. Because when it hit the AoE, 4 sets of counter went off. Each counter hit the fire. When the physical attack hits one of the fire forms, it also triggers a counter attack in magic, which could get reflected. The scene from one of the Avengers things where Loki hits the ground and is like, I've been falling for 30 minutes. It's that. That is what I created during Liquid Flame, and it was freaking hilarious.
Oh, I was more thinking of Disgaea, where you have like the counter.
It was counter to the nth degree. It was super fun. So that being said, if you are planning to play 5, definitely play 4-Job Fiesta. Definitely message me on Discord, because that fight required a lot of work and a lot of finessing to make happen.
Oh.
Bravo, sir. Bravo.
It was magical. And also, yes, it is time to fight like men, and ladies who dress like men was just as wonderful this time as it has been every other time.
All right. Anything
Now we
else?
can go into Final Fantasy IX soundtrack stuff. Now that I've
Okay.
gushed about the thing I've spent 2 days playing.
I mean, it's worth gushing about. I do love 5, and I love hearing anyone talk about it.
Well,
I was just kind of like letting it wash over me.
all right. So let's skip ahead a couple of Final Fantasies again. And
Seems legit.
all right. So we are on disc 4, and it starts off with a bang.
Talking about this feels very 80s-ish.
But it also feels very airship-ish. Because this is aboard the Hildegard.
Yep.
Yep, this is the bit that sounds like, now let's watch this thing about your timeshare in Hawaii.
Oh god, my players and I were trash talking timeshares the other day. It was great.
Huh. The Hildegard is, of course, like, because you get so many different airships during this game, in part because some of them get wrecked. This was the one that Sid had made that was actually really good, that Kuja then stole, that you finally recover. There's a lot going on there.
I think you get 3, right? I think you get 3 in this game.
Either 3 or 4. Let me check really fast.
There's a bunch.
Yeah.
I know you get 2 or 3 in most games.
Yeah, it's 3 or 4. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember which one, because I know there's this ship, there's the first ship we have, and then there's the Invincible, and I thought there was one other. So I know there's
3 people that host a Final Fantasy podcast don't remember.
There's so many.
It's a big
I
number.
mean, plus you have chocobos.
Oh god. Yes.
And there's just a lot of airships in FF9 in general. Like,
Yeah.
it's commonly used as a way to get around.
Yep. And well, like I said, Sid is just loves his airships, and of course we have to fly in them. So
But yeah, like the FF6's the Blackjack, the first one that we get from Seyrr, also reminded me of that aspect of like okay, here's this exciting thing, and now let's learn about the franchise opportunities available through Cutco.
Oh god.
Like there's some kind of aspect to that you're getting here too, which is a let's go to the adventure, to the sky full of possibilities.
well,
Like in your business partnership.
they're all kind of based off of the similar theme that actually, and it started in the 80s, with the original
Yeah.
airship theme. So it just maybe just happens to jump
Yep.
into that feeling, or
Like-
maybe all the people who were making those programs were Final Fantasy fans and they just liked the music, so they
And
based it
just
off
for-
of it.
Just for the Final Fantasy series in general, airship is like, this is the point where you have freedom. This is the point where you get to start deciding what you do. There have been some where it isn't that, and the airship music for those is really different.
And this is
But
the time
otherwise
in your
it's like
life when you can get a lifetime of knives for 4 easy payments of $19.99.
You're young, you're stupid, you're gonna get overcharged for insurance anyway, so why not just go out there and live life to the fullest? You don't have a 401k, you're not even thinking about a 401k.
Welcome to
I
Phoenix
don't care.
Radio. Sarah's having a day, apparently.
I was about to say.
I
I am just riffing right now.
it kind of comes
ice cream again.
it kind of comes when Seyrr hits this point when he's come in and a little bit tired, and he gets his second wind, and he just kind of goes off on it. So that's exactly what's happening right now.
Discover just to open the sails and let it ride. It's way more interesting than anything else.
Oh,
On your way to your
anyways,
Hawaiian timeshare.
what do we got next?
I don't know. Well, it's just about over.
Alrighty.
I like how it ends too. Okay, then it just kind of goes back into it, and then
Yep.
it'll kind of fall
I mean-
off.
Who knows how long you're going to be flying your airship?
All right, so next.
Ah, a lot more soothing.
Mm-hmm. This is Daguerreo, the Hermit's Library.
Yeah, I don't think you even end up having to go here.
No, this is optional, if I remember right.
And apparently on the Apple Music Store, it's got a typo in the name. It's the Garep.
Huh. The keys are like right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you've got this kind of old forgotten well, not forgotten, but it's a library that's just kind of become this gathering point for people all over the world. I do remember being able to do a fair number of side quests, get lots of really good weapons and armor, but the music is oddly peaceful.
I like that little
Ding! Yeah.
It's just relaxing.
There's a lot of string music in this game, and it's very, very nice because it's very different from where we came from off of 7 and 8, which were a lot more orchestral. This has got that kind of more folky style, and the art and the music definitely flowed together in 9.
Yes, it was a very strong part of what makes it, just hit in that right spot in your heart for those of you who really enjoyed the old school RPGs.
I vaguely remember there being a lot of water here as well. Like, you've got lots of bookcases and stuff all over, but then it's like, okay, it's like kind of on a pool or water or something like that, or maybe it's just flooded, I don't know. But I always felt like, okay, that's got to be such a damp environment for it. But it did make it like a kind of really relaxed, chill feel to it. Like, it really went with that kind of gentle.
All right, let's go ahead and jump to the next one. This is a very odd sounding piece.
It's kind of like that opening theme, but
Yep,
It is the opening theme. It's just got like a different note texture and also this very haunting tones behind it.
yeah, it's like
it's very
practically choir.
discordic.
That's a good word for it, yes.
Even it's not, I don't know if it's really a word, but you know what I'm saying.
I know I know the meaning. Meaning over definition.
yeah,
And
Wittgenstein would be proud.
for those of you who can hear this in stereo, you kind of hear it going back and forth a little bit.
Oh god, I thought I had a headache. Okay, sweet.
It just kind of adds to the chaos that we're feeling with this, because you got the low notes with the chanting sound, and then you've got the very sharp recorders.
Woodwinds of whatever sort
Yep.
they are. They might be recorders.
Sound like either wood recorders or bone flutes or something really simple.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, the fact that the notes on the recorders are kind of going high, low, high, low, high, low as well. So you've got that, and it really kind of
Now-
hurts.
The location itself is similarly paradoxical and confusing.
It makes sense because this is for Ibsen's castle.
yeah.
Because we
Which-
hadn't said that yet.
yeah. Which we can see from the outside appears to be like a double building that's partly upside down. While you're inside, your strength becomes weakness and vice versa. Equipping the weakest weapons and armor there actually gives you the best performance in battle.
Yep.
There's all sorts of strange stuff going on with it, and it's some kind of very odd space.
Yes. Next.
And there's yet another mix on it. During the visit to Ibsen's castle, we recover 4 elemental mirrors, as well as information suggesting that each of these mirrors needs to be set at a place that is guarded by a creature of the same element, and that all of these need to be done simultaneously.
So this is where you get to split your party up into 4 different groups and take this on. So who you assign where is very important in this battle.
Especially if you haven't paid attention to everybody's dual techs and haven't leveled everyone up properly, you might split up your best options, or you might pick your best options and then get stuck with not great options as well.
I think you might be thinking of a different point, because in this one, the party divisions are decided for you.
Oh,
Is it?
okay.
Yeah. Because it starts
You're
to
right.
feel like one of those things where you're going to be doing that.
That's right. And then they're just like, does this work? And you're like, oh, yes.
And then Aiko's like, I'm going with Garnet because I want to chat with her anyways.
Yeah, okay. I'm thinking of a different thing.
Yeah.
Also, I have a lot of video games in my brain, but no, that definitely reminds me of this bit.
Like, there is some strategizing, but it feels like one of those things where you're going to be like, now divide your party into, oh, they already went off. Oh, well, okay, Vivi and Steiner, they work great together.
Fair.
Like, this one I was always amused with ends with Zidane and Quina going into the Earth Shrine, and Zidane looking a little mopey about it, and saying it's like, he tells Quina, I feel like I got stuck with the leftovers. Which Quina, of course, regards as a high compliment, because in their tribe they're the same. Leftovers
good.
Oh.
And then we actually we go from the actual planning stages to the battles. This is the music that plays when fighting the Guardians.
Yeah, because again, it does, of course, switch back and forth between the shrines as we see each of the groups infiltrating, fighting against the stuff there. The fact that we didn't get to play as all of them was an interesting, or we only got to play as the one, was a really interesting choice, but I felt like it added a lot to it.
But
Like,
this
kind
go
of
ahead.
giving the characters a life of their own, seeing them do their things and make their decisions without us driving them. It made them feel a little more alive to me.
No, I forgot what I was going to say, but that's fine.
Sorry.
No, it's just been one of those weeks.
Yeah. That bit is super familiar. Is that from something else?
I don't know.
Like, just that progression there. I think that's used in another song somewhere. I just can't remember where. Oh, it might have been vaguely Ifa-tree-ish.
That sounds right, because I definitely have heard it somewhere before. I just don't remember where. I think it was off of the soundtrack. It was like disc one or disc two.
Oh yeah, now I
And
remember.
thematic-
I was going to talk about how this definitely has those boss fight vibes.
Yes.
It's very, very powerful. You know, it pushes at the right points.
Yeah. And story-wise, we've learned about Gaia and Terra, that there's this other world that's kind of like tried to assimilate ours.
We've learned about
And-
what?
Yes, we've learned about Terra.
Yes.
The world that tried to assimilate Gaia, failed at it, and is now inside the planet. Possibly physically, possibly metaphysically, it's a little weird. Oh, but those elemental shrines and guardians being the last thing sealing the portal to it. Because, of course, we have to take the fight to them.
It's very haunting.
Yeah, you've got, again, that main theme there, but yeah, it's like kind of...
Especially with the harp, you know?
There it is. Yeah, it's a very alien landscape. All sorts of stuff that... Like, most of our party spends lots of time being confused. In part because the locals don't seem to react to us either, and it just feels very strange. It's like, okay, we are going to go through to the... Okay, we are in another world. This is really another world.
Yep.
And now it has riffs off of previous themes. Just kind of showing that they're similar but different. You know, that whole, you know, it's just, it's trippy. And it goes back into the harp again. It's really fits.
Like, this is clear. Like, this is not somewhere where it's, oh, it's a world out to get us. It's kind of almost a world just existing in almost a stasis.
And then we find a village. A soulless village called Branbal.
Oh, the minor key is making me so uncomfortable.
Well, there are no souls.
Yeah, filled with strange people referred to as genomes who look a lot like Zidane but act very differently.
Yeah, we start to learn a lot about our protagonist here.
Yeah, this is definitely giving me like hairs on the back of my neck tensing up vibes.
Well, the only thing that we knew about him is like, oh, he has a tail. Cool. No one else has a tail. And then as we're discovering more about Kuja, as we're discovering how different Zidane thinks than everybody else, we go, okay, well, that's, maybe we'll find out more about him later. And then now we're finding out, we're going, oh, it's very different than what we were expecting. But we didn't know what we were expecting. But it's still, yeah, hair on the back of the neck standing up, definitely shifting your weight back a little bit, just making sure, hey, what we're discovering and where we are is not where we were a few minutes ago.
And now we're going somewhere else.
Yeah, that's not on
Oh,
there.
God.
You think the upcoming raid is going to be based off of this?
I hope so.
Ooh.
I hope
Well,
part
I
of
mean,
it
they
is.
Yeah, they've got this and FF2 to draw from,
Mhm.
though this is in and of itself kind of a callback to FF2.
Yep. This is Pandemonium.
Is there any time that you use pipe organ where it isn't like sinister and or angelic? I feel like
Inagata
those are the
Devita?
two things you... Okay, Simpsons notwithstanding. But I feel like that's the two moods you get with pipe organ.
You either get the 70s rock or you get
Yeah.
or Dancing Mad.
God, Dancing Mad.
Yeah, Nick Nar, if you don't get the Pandemonium Warden in Pandemonium.
Oh, God.
As long as you don't have to take 18 days to defeat it. Or
18
whatever that
hours?
was.
Well, it was 18 hours until they were like, okay, we have to stop because people are literally passing out and vomiting.
Wasn't there one that actually took multiple days? Not just like,
At least not in Final Fantasy 11. There was stuff that was designed to potentially take a super long time like that,
which...
but like I don't think Absolute Virtue got killed properly before the Pandemonium Warden thing happened, and then they were like, okay, maybe we need to revise this.
I mean...
Anyways.
Yeah. We don't need to get into weird raid boss...
Pandemonium, which... very interesting place. So Terra, of course, is this world that's kind of frozen. As we learned in Oliver, it's effectively a dying world that's kind of gone into stasis, waiting to be reborn. You've got your genomes, the soulless people of Branbal, whose main purpose is to become bodies for these spirits when they get revived. So in the meantime, exercise, make sure you're keeping yourself in good shape, but don't go developing a personality. That's kind of pointless. You're just there to be a vessel for someone later on. Pandemonium, that's just the thing administrating all this, with the ageless Garland. Dude's practically like some kind of robot administrator, effectively.
Yeah, no, this is creepy, by the way, in case anybody missed the clues so far. This is a very creepy place.
Yep.
Well, after we talk with Garland...
Yeah, Zidane learns a lot about his purpose in all this, how he's created to be an agent of Terra and an angel of destruction kind of thing. And the knowledge shakes the rather happy-go-lucky young man to his core. God, I love this sequence.
And he learns he is not alone.
This is such a good song.
Yeah, this one gives me shivers, but the good kind. Because, yeah, he is lashing out, having learned all of these horrible things about himself, what he was made for, stalking through pandemonium, with the rest of his party coming to his aid and him trying to shake them off. Like, for a lot of those fights, seeing them trying to give the help and seeing him just kind of refusing to take it, not feeling like he's worthy of it. He's been told, okay, he is this monster, created for this purpose.
But his friends
I don't
don't
remember
care.
if there's a different version of this song.
I think some bits of it might have been used in something else, but... yeah, I just remember this whole sequence, like, slowly trudging through these hallways, getting into battles where having your party change to have all the various different people helping you in different combinations.
It was very poignant.
Both in the battle screen, as well as, like, you would see a thing where Freya and Amaranth were both going at an enemy and that you join them.
Also, this Distant Worlds, this is on one of the Distant Worlds albums. Because I haven't heard this version in a long time. I've been listening to the Distant Worlds one for years.
It's a good song.
Very solid. Also, it was
with a
also in
good
a Dear
message.
Friends album as well.
All right.
Yeah, man, I remember, like in the midst of it, it's like, you're all a bunch of babysitting bastards. But trust me, I know that I'm the worst bastard here. Like, that is some despair right there. Like, he's trying to make sense of all this stuff and lashing out for it. And his party members just keep coming back for him.
All right. Moving on. We get a major shift in the tone. Into some unforgettable sorrow. Where Not Alone was a little bit more uplifting, this one is quite the opposite.
I'm trying to remember where this one happened. It does have this really melancholy feel to it.
It plays when the genomes arrive at the Black Mage Village.
The village that didn't used to be Black Mage Village, but became it because we interfered.
Yeah. And so,
Or
hey,
is it-
here we...
Yeah.
like the parallels between them. Here you have this other group of life forms that was created for a particular purpose that has been set adrift and has to kind of figure out what to make of itself. I mean, of all the places they could have ended up, the Black Mage Village is probably the best one for them. Very different creatures, but a very shared experience.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Now, a lot has happened since we went to Terra.
We left and then we came back, and it's like there's more. Mist has returned, if I remember right.
Yeah, we spent all that time getting it cleared out, and now it's all back and worse than before.
Mm-hmm. This is another nightmare. This is the second world map theme.
Yeah. So, plot-wise, Zidane, of course, learned of his origins and purpose, and Kuja learned about it as well. Most importantly, he learned that he was created to be finite. That yes, he's achieved this thing. He's achieving this complete domination, and he's not going to live to enjoy it. Like much like the black mages that he used and mocked, he is on a limited timer, and his is running out. And faced with the existential dread of that he is going to die soon, there is nothing he can do about it. Like, we return from Terra because Kuja destroys the entire place. Millennia of their plan to assimilate the planet, be reborn, and Kuja's all, fuck that. You're all, like, the world doesn't get to go on without me. If I'm gonna die, you're all dying too.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
It's your classic existential crisis. It's just that most of us
Kuja's crazy. Like, actively crazy.
I mean, he's just having an existential crisis. It's just that most of us can't cast Ultima.
Yeah.
If you could do that, your existential crises might be just as bad.
He's just trying to be Kefka Jr.
He really was.
I mean,
you can't
like,
blame SE for trying to, reignite that whole amazing story that Kuja brought, or Kefka.
Well, I feel they've cut from different, like, Kefka just saw everything as being meaningless. He just exulted in destruction for its own sake. With Kuja, it was more, he had plans, he had goals, and then he had to deal with the fact that he was going to die soon, and the world would keep going on without him. And that's a thing that at some point most people have to grapple with in some way, and a lot of them deal with it very poorly. It's just a lot of them don't have world-destroying powers.
Yeah, well, I think if we had caught Kefka, when he first started down his existential crisis, we probably could have beat him a little bit earlier. He had a lot more time to prepare and really get good at his crazy.
Maybe he wasn't 60 feet tall if we had tried to defeat him earlier. That would have been good.
Fair.
That was hard.
Anyway, moving on. We've got another epic theme.
Yeah.
This is the Silver Dragon. And it plays during the second battle of the Aoife Tree.
Man, there sure are a lot of battles at the Aoife Tree. But yeah, Kuja, of course, has continuing on his plan of just like, fuck it, if I go, everyone goes with me. And like the rest of the world has kind of united to say, no, we would like to keep existing here. Oh. I seem to recall Beatrix having a starring role during some bits of this. It's definitely one of those, like, okay, right out to the last battle kind of themes.
It's very grandiose in its feeling, though. It's a big fight. It's an important fight.
This was also the part of the game where it's like, every fight is important, because all of the little meaningless like quibbles that we've been having up to this point were not as critical. We've reached the critical mass point.
Mm-hmm.
We've reached the, why is it called Alexandria? Oh, I'm a genome. Like, I've come to grips with what black mages are. We've passed all that. Everything that we're dealing with now is bigger than all of those things.
Yeah, I mean, we're
just
only talking about, in the entire existence of the world.
Yeah, we've got someone who has just been like, fuck it all, I'm gonna flip the game board.
All right, we'll go ahead and jump to the next one. This song is just so good.
This track is titled Memoria, and it's Kikyu no Basho, Place of Memory. And it's when we go to the area called Memoria in the game. But I feel like this instrument choice gets used for the past or flashbacky stuff a couple times.
Yeah. Which, I mean, Memoria is, again, getting into the weird metaphysical stuff. It is like kind of a physical version of the idea of like the collective unconscious, of racial memory, of like this. And as you go through it, they're actually moving through the memories that various characters have. Like you walk through different scenes, you see different things. There's a bit.
That bit just there. Does that not sound like the Kyrios, Ward, and Laguna sections too?
Yeah, you kind of get a little bit of...
You get that kind of past thing going on. I'm not sure why they picked this chord progression for the past, but it's worked a few times.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, why do they keep using a similar feeling with the airship themes? Why do all the Chocobo themes are the same, you know?
Exactly.
There's something about it that's
It's
pasty,
something that hits in your brain. You know, you hear this, you're like, oh, this is what's going to come up.
Evoking emotional response. That is the goal.
long forgotten whatnots.
And who's he what's it's.
But yeah, you see things like you actually get to see this like a kind of frozen diorama of young Garnet's escape from Madain Sarai with the Invincible destroying it.
Yeah.
A thing long in her past that Zidane mentions that he was never even present for, but he seems to see it as well. And they discuss the concept of how memory connects and ties us.
You know, this game
Like
has
I said,
a lot of
super
weird,
metaphysical.
Yeah, this game has a lot of weird places because we go somewhere else now. The Crystal World. The Crystal World.
It's kind of your classic Crystal theme, but again, minor shifted a bit. You have that weird kind of like fluttering, splitting bit.
And the fact that it's in a completely different world. So it's got that alien feel.
Yeah.
The unknown feeling.
You've got like this chain of memory stretching back into the past and eventually arriving at this thing that's kind of the source of all life in existence. So yeah, like that classic Crystal theme, but twisted.
Yeah. It's kind of been bounced around a little bit too much, and it just warped how it sounds, and that which completely changes how it feels. Because you were talking earlier, a couple of those themes kind of gave you the hairs on the back of your neck. This part right here does that for me.
Like, you know this song, but it's wrong.
Though this generally happens when something bad is happening that involves crystals. I think we had something similar in Final Fantasy IV. They pulled this with like when the crystals were being stolen.
Yeah.
Or in 3 when they were being destroyed. I think, didn't they do something like that in the DS version?
Never played that one.
But it definitely reminds me of some of the Crystal Room themes in 4.
Yeah. It's kind of your Crystal theme in general, just again, minor shifted a bit. Ugh.
That one right there.
It's not just a minor shift. Yeah.
I mean, they're actually warping the notes as it progresses downward at that point.
Yeah, the bit is like, God, it almost sounds like the kind of classical, like, bat wing flapping sound music thing. There's some kind of discontinuity to it. Okay, this is uncomfortable.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next one.
Right.
Let's go into the darkness of eternity. Again with the pipe organ. So we know this is some serious shit.
Yeah.
But then we get that.
Guys, we got the pipe organ in. Buckle up.
Yeah. One thing.
Go ahead.
And yet another example of the integration between game mechanics and plot elements, we've had a discussion of the concept of trance as like this thing of like life kind of reaching out and struggling, and like when it's like this greater power that can be accessed. And Kuja manages to tap into it for this battle.
Yeah. Isn't it weird how when you heard the organ type shift from pipe organ to the rock and roll organ?
Love this bit. Because this is a battle theme, like the boss battle with Trance Kuja is going on during.
But this is kind of where Kuja takes a turn away from Kefka, and he goes away from that grandiose thing, and it just kind of, he hits this new power, and it changes the feel.
Yeah. Because like we've got bits of Kuja's theme in here, but this isn't reveling in destruction. This is lashing out at the knowledge of his own death. Like that's where the darkness of eternity. That is the darkness of being dead.
Yeah, and here now we get the two organs together.
This is also a very cool musical motif that we've seen a few times in 9 specifically, just because of the Kuja Zidane rivalry, is where they would have an instrument and then they'd have a different version of that same instrument, and then they would have both instruments played together. We've seen it in woodwinds
around each other.
Exactly. Like we see this in a lot of like old like 1950s style radio play, where they would use instruments to punctuate voices if there was only one narrator, so that they could differentiate who they had. But now when they had situations where two characters would interact, both of those instruments would play almost simultaneously or on top of each other, back and forth. So you would end up listening to something like this, where it is the new version, the rock version, and kind of the old pipe version still playing together.
We've got two people who are in the same situation, Zidane and Kuja, and who each have found very different answers to the question. Knowing that you are going to die, how will you live?
Anybody else think this part of the story reminds them of parts in Trigun?
I've actually watched Trigun.
No, I know I've read it, I haven't watched it, but I think I know what you're talking about when he meets his brother, like kind of for the second or third time.
And knives, I mean, excuse me.
Yeah.
I mean, I played this game before I ever watched Trigun, but I mean, as soon as I saw that part of it, it's like, God damn it, this is very much like Zidane and Kuja.
A reasonably universal story, I suppose.
Yeah, two alien created beings that were pushed to another world.
Yeah.
And then learn about their where they come from and take very different paths. That's pretty universal.
Yeah. I'll mention that Zidane even at the end of things tells Kuja that he could see himself having gone down that same pathway if he didn't have the friends he had.
Yeah. How you interact with this world really does impact how you see it.
I love that bit.
Yeah, right? You get the whole bass with the within the organ. All right. But now we go into a very spooky.
I would go with discordant.
Yeah, but I mean, you got the voices in there. Ah!
Yeah.
This is the final battle.
Yeah. Because while we do defeat Kuja, in the process of the whole thing, actually, I don't know if we managed to defeat it. At the climax of the battle, Kuja lets loose an Ultima that destroys the original crystal. Like, this is source of all life. And so we are visited by these strange otherworldly presence of Necron, who declares that Kuja has shown that life craves its annihilation, and so that it is there to fulfill that wish. Again, metaphysical. Weird shit.
Yeah, disc 4 of Final Fantasy IX, the PlayStation 1 had multiple discs for those of you young people who don't know, was definitely just metaphysics and weird, while you're still somehow trying to cram a JRPG through it. It was kind of a process.
I mean, would it be the ending of a JRPG if it wasn't getting metaphysical?
I mean, as the joke for Persona fans is day 1, save a cat, day 300, punch God. I mean, that's the game.
Day 301, find out that the cat was actually Ultra God.
That's New Game Plus, but yeah. P5 is weird, man.
Yeah.
You know this is a good battle theme. You know, it's
Okay. Is this Final Battle or is this Darkness?
This is
Final
Necron.
Battle.
This is still Necron? Okay.
Yeah, the first part of it is the exposition of Necron coming in. The second part here is the battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, this fight, because I only played this game like a little over a year ago, and this was the part where the music shifted. It's not your normal boss music. It's definitely a final battle. You have your team of 4. Everyone's fully equipped. You know how your team works, and you're going through the motions, and it's doing what it's supposed to do, but you get 0 satisfaction from it. You have no idea if any of it's working. You're like, cool, I did 900 damage. I don't know if that means anything. I broke 1300. I don't know if that means anything. Okay, group heal, throw up a protect. Seems legit. I don't know if it did anything. It's freaking scary.
I had Quina use Angel Snack so many times, that saved my ass. Angel Snack
Basically.
uses,
What was the Angel Snack? I don't use her.
it throws a remedy onto everyone in the party.
Okay. Yeah, I was slamming through magic with Renoa. Or not Renoa, Garnet.
Darn.
I just started replaying 8, so like my brain is also fried. But yeah.
That's actually a really interesting point, just kind of the, like, oh, and there's the, like, voices crying out. But yeah, just like this, like, desperate struggle that's with no clue of how you're even actually doing. Like, if we're going to get...
I like bosses where they break.
Yeah.
You lose your armor, you lose your shoulder pad. The AoE stops. The dots stop after you've done a certain amount of damage. Just give me some kind of indication. Necron gives no shits. It's just ready to throw you down.
Which, I mean, again, going with the whole, like, oh, hey, it's this implacable force of, like, the Thanatosian impulse. Like, it shows no weakness. It just keeps... You don't even know if you're managing to do anything. Like, thematically, it absolutely works.
Just hope he doesn't snaps.
Yeah?
Oh, that's Thanos. The Thanatosian impulse is something else.
Close enough. Still a guy who gives no fucks.
Oh.
All right. Long battle theme, but epic, awesome. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one.
Yep.
We go from that epic boss theme to this really serene, yet kind of melancholy, sad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no joy in that victory.
I mean, we did what we had to do, but we take no joy in how it was accomplished.
We were successful, but it doesn't feel good.
I mean, this was, at its core, a man who was grieving about the fact that he was about to die and was powerless against it. We stopped him, but it doesn't, again, yeah, doesn't feel great. It's still a tragedy for him. He did awful stuff, but it still hurts to see someone suffering. At least it hurts me.
Next, we have this is
and
called
yes, in
Kiss
fact-
of Betrayal.
Because yes, after the whole thing, during the escape sequence, Zidane goes back for unexplained reasons that are not explained at the time, and we do end up cutting to sometime later. Like a year later, was it?
For our next one,
Just like in general during a lot of these, but what we end up. A large part of this is watching a new performance by the Taliz Theater Troupe. And so they actually have the new play going.
yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't they do another performance?
I Want to Be Your Canary.
The classic. Once again attended by the Queen, even if a different head carries the crown this time. And they're like going through the entire thing like the play sequence we saw before, this time without all the interruptions of a kidnapping and whatnot.
Interruptions. It was fine.
This is fine. Everything is fine. We'll just roll with it. I'm just gonna play through these because these are all playing during the ending sequence.
Also, like, there's 4 tracks in a row that total like 4 minutes. So,
Yep.
like all of them combined.
Yep, all the different things of the play. It
'Cause
turns out it
as
goes
you-
a lot faster when you don't keep cutting away to the shenanigans happening backstage.
As you hear, all of them kind of have that same theme with them, just slightly different. This one is Inseparable Hearts.
Oh, last time we heard this, Garnet had taken a sword under her arm and was going through the tragic death sequence.
It's so good.
God, she knew how to improvise.
Oh, she was so good at it. It was amazing.
They do generally frown on the Queen coming down from the stands to perform, though.
Tell me Queen Elizabeth wouldn't dead-ass walk up to stand next to, like, Sir Ian McKellen in a scene somewhere, though.
Yeah,
Well, she 100% would.
I'm sure there would be someone protesting the entire way, but...
Oh, yeah, their name is Steiner. But, like, it would still be frowned upon, but it would definitely, she would definitely try to do it.
And now, Behind the Door.
This might be one of my favorite tracks off of this soundtrack, honestly.
Yep.
It has extremely different associations for me. It's used as the music when you do relic draws in Final Fantasy Record Keeper.
Oh, shit!
But in this case, Behind the Door, Garnet sees a familiar face.
Bet $6 on tokens today. Maybe I'll get an SSR.
Oh, don't remind me of my old shame. Technically, it's not quite behind a door because it's more someone on stage in a cloak who rips it off to reveal that impish little face.
Yeah.
Sarah, you literally started with the word "is technically." You know that you screwed up when the word "technically" shows up at the start of the sentence.
Quiet you.
So anyway, I bought a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cards online, in Duel Links. So yeah.
Did
I'm
you
right
hear
there
this
with you.
theme with you? You didn't hear this
Yeah.
theme as you were buying it, did you?
No. No, I heard Bannon killing things in Skyrim.
Good job, Bannon.
We have an interesting soundtrack in the house.
Oh. But yeah, just like all those little moments, Garnet rushing down to the stage, or rushing to the door to head down, with the way is then barred by Beatrix and Steiner, who then smile and open the door for her.
Dude, when they opened it together, you're like, yes, the ship is real. It was so good.
The ship is sailing. There it goes. And
So which one of them do you suppose finally asked the other out?
Beatrix, of course.
Dude, yeah, that's not even a question.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just wanted to hear somebody say it, didn't you? You just wanted to justify your thoughts.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the answer's obvious. I just want confirmation.
Fair. And then we jump into the major theme of this game. Melodies of Life.
I will admit that not understanding the words did make it lose a little impact for me.
It's still pretty.
It is.
And just to avoid as much demonetization as possible, or any other thing like that, as much as I'd love to play all 7.5 minutes of this, let's go ahead and jump into that familiar theme.
Yeah, sad we have to drop for money reasons. However, there's also an English language version of Melodies of Life, and it is equally as beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's sung by a very familiar voice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, doesn't Susan Calloway sing that?
She does at Distant Worlds.
Yeah, I know she did for that. So maybe that's the version I was thinking of. But...
It was Emiko Shiratori for both the Japanese and English versions.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I'm just used to hearing Susan singing it, so
Same.
going back with you in the other version of the other song in this. So
Yeah, Shiratori does do for both language versions, which, needless to say, the English pronunciations are a little janky. Also, fitting syllables into musical beats is definitely different, but it's still very, very beautiful.
And it's one that we've been getting like bits and pieces of throughout, so there is something very satisfying about just getting to hear the whole thing together.
Yeah. But for now, we've got the just the familiar prelude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's weird that it's like, I know why it's called a prelude. It's like kind of a historical artifact, but it's still weird that the prelude is the thing that's at the end.
Yeah, especially in most of the games from like, I think didn't 7 have it at the end too?
Yep.
8.
This is not how preludes work.
This is a postlude. Get it right.
God. There's also something that's kind of the universal agreement within gaming of, and if you are going to have something that is legacy that is going to be included in another game, whether it's a recurring character or a song or something like that, you always keep one piece of it that is always the same. And if you are going to change any bit of it, you need to maintain as much of it to its original, not the last time you used it, the original version as you possibly can, which leads to interesting scenarios if people come into your franchise midway through, like people that started playing Final Fantasy with FF10 going,
Or 14.
or 14, or even 15, and they're going, I remember talking with Lancetti, oh, there's these resistance balls that you can call in 10 that resist spells and they've never been in any other game. And I'm like, they were literally in 1. What are you talking about? But they didn't know. So for stuff like Prelude, yeah, it keeps its name, it keeps the song, but you can change the instrument. You can change where it is. You can change how it's utilized. However, you still have to call it Prelude or include it as part of the main theme. And then it's called like main theme and Prelude or something like that.
Or like Prelude dubstep version.
Wop, 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 wop.
Drop the beat and the plot starts. It'll be great.
Anyway, there are a couple other songs on the last disc. There's the music from a couple of Japanese commercials, as well as the English version of Melodies of Life. But we're going to go ahead and skip those for right now.
We'll go ahead and mention really quickly, not that I've looked, however, you should definitely look to see if you can find the Final Fantasy IX Coca-Cola commercials.
Oh my god, those things.
They're fucking magical and they're super fun. And remember that they were made in like 1999.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 1999 full motion video CG graphics. So we're talking just a couple years after the digital polar bears Coca-Cola commercials. So it's that, except they get to play with textures and like Zidon's chasing a bottle cap across rooftops. It's super, super fun and you should definitely look them up.
All right. But as always,
I did just find Air's theme dubstep. Not what I was looking for, but we'll go with it.
I can't stay mad. But with most of the soundtracks, there are liner notes. And Uematsu likes to write down his feelings about where he was at, during, the writing of these songs. So this one was translated into English. Every time I complete a job, I always think, I'm glad I got involved in this project. Knowing that I've given my best is, of course, a source of satisfaction, but even more rewarding is the rapport that I establish with the team. What one man can do alone is limited. While some of the pieces are credited under my name, in reality, many people will be involved in the creation of a work before it is finished. As a project increases in scale, the number of people involved also grows, making it harder for everyone to unite as a team. A team can never achieve its goals if the members don't trust and respect each other. But when you pull it off, the satisfaction you get is something that money just can't buy. While being overloaded or lacking the required talent can cause distress at work, not getting along with your colleagues is an even more serious cause of trouble. There's a certain joy that can be only felt by those who have banded together to get through whatever problems arose. I'd like to use this occasion to thank everyone who participated in the Final Fantasy IX project. Their efforts overwhelmed me. I'd never want to face them as enemies. And
Okay, did that come off as kind of ominous to anyone else?
A little bit, but also, I have watched Uematsu, sleep deprived and jet lagged, hold up a giant rubber fish in the middle of Benaroya Hall because he thought it was cool, to show everyone in Benaroya Hall the cool fish thing that he bought at Pike Place that afternoon. So I think the dude's just actually crazy, so it's actually probably fine.
Okay, I wasn't sure if there was some bit of it that was like, by the way, some of you know who you are. It's difficult when you're having rivalries. You know who you are. But it's like, okay, no, he's just saying whatever at this point. Got it.
But also, there's a certain way of complimenting people, especially in Japanese. Like, there's not a way to. You're not going to say, you are a very hard worker, because the response is, well, you are also a hard worker. You might be harder than me. And you get up into this, like, you're harder working than me back and forth comic piece, and it's dumb. So instead, you'll say something like, you're so good at what you do, because you put the onus on yourself, I don't want to be against you when you are working hard on something that you are feeling positive about. Like, that's the way to spin it, and it sounds really dumb in English, but it comes across as very polite in Japanese.
Yeah, it's
I
saying
can see that. It's like kind of harder to reverse that. It's sort of a take the goddamn compliment.
Sort of, but you have to put yourself in the vulnerable position to do that, which is also and also this doesn't work in colloquialism Japanese. It doesn't work in ore or boku. It definitely is watashi style of very proper speaking when you're trying to use that kind of complimentary language to people. So that, of course, doesn't translate particularly well, like, ever. So that's why this definitely sounds a little more ominous than it was probably originally intended.
Really, Japan? Can't you just say, "Hey, you're really cool. Let's touch butts"? I mean, probably not that last bit, but keep the option open.
Send you a link in Shinjuku, and I don't ever want you to tell me if you go there.
And on that bombshell, that's going to do it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, please make sure to like, subscribe, or follow us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or whatever your preferred podcatcher is. And if possible, leave us a rating or review. It helps other people find our show and lets us know how we're doing. If you're really digging the show, please consider subscribing here at twitch.tv/PhoenixDownRadio, where you get access to subscriber-only emotes and badges, as well as some new follower emotes that we just made go live last week, I believe. So yeah, enjoy playing with those if you haven't noticed that they're there already. And if you really dig the show, I already said that part. Or you can support us on Patreon, like our benevolent overlord, Rory Fenrir, or our shadowy foreign investor, Tibian Salts, by going to patreon.com/PhoenixDownRadio. All proceeds go towards growing the show, cover hosting costs, allow us to improve and upgrade equipment, as well as do some fun things like contests and giveaways. Any kind of support, whether it's emails, likes, tweets, or retweets, anything like that, it's always greatly appreciated. We love interacting with you guys and the rest of the community. If you want to catch up on our backlog of podcasts, all 155 of them, plus a couple of special episodes, you can go to our website, PhoenixDownRadio.com. If you have questions, show suggestions, just want to say hi, send us an email at podcast@PhoenixDownRadio.com or hit us up out on Twitter at PHXDNRadio. Always, like I said, if you're listening to us on the podcast, why don't you stop over at twitch.tv/PhoenixDownRadio and give us a follow there. And check out some of our backlog of videos that we have out on youtube.com/PhoenixDownRadio. So who wants to start with those shout outs?
Got it.
All right. So shout out to, again, the folks from the XIV Light Party Dungeon Run event. Klauss, Nicknar, Anonymous. You all were really fun to play with. Especially just like getting out of the usually like, oh, radio host and loremonger, and just be like, hey, we're just some friends who are going to play a game together. Oh God, we're getting killed. Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. It was really like, it's really nice to just like step back and do something fun and silly every so often.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps it from getting too repetitive.
As well as raising some money for kids.
Yes. Also, big shout out to Maelstrom Radio for not taking it too harshly when I went ahead and donated $50 to kick their time up a bit. Even though they were totally talking about trying to get Anonymous to betray us, punks. You know what you did.
I feel like Anonymous would betray you for like half a sandwich, bro.
No, we actually get along pretty well.
It just could be a sandwich.
He would betray me because it was funny. There is a very important difference there.
That tracks.
Accurate.
You can find me on Twitter at FF14Seyrr. That's FFXIVSEYRR. I also pay attention to the Discord most of the time, so it's a really great place to get a hold of me.
Excellent. Now you must go, Taliz.
Fine. Anyway, so shout outs to Pyrocats for going antique hunting. Kat and I went hunting with our girlfriend a couple weeks ago, and we found all kinds of awesome stuff. So that was a lot of fun. And now we have a whole bunch of cool Japanese dishes and servingware. So we
Ooh.
have excuses to host more parties now that everybody is triple vaxxed and we've all been spending enough time together that we're just in a little queue of gross anyway. So shout outs to her for being super, super cool. Shout outs to Bannon for having an awesome shop and allowing me to fix all of my friends' cars and all of my project cars because most of them are significantly more broken than I ever thought possible, and yet somehow they still drive because chaos fuels everything, including my vehicles.
Chaos.
Just believe hard enough and it'll probably work.
I am not a Disney character, Seyrr, and I cannot just, no need to be proactive. Good things just happen to me is not going to work. I am not the protagonist here.
You mean you can't just sing a little song and like a sparrow will fly in with like some ratchet tools?
You've watched Star Kid Productions. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
I
so
recognize the quote right there. It was great.
okay, good. Also, shout outs to the KupoCon community for doing a really, really cool Endwalker release event today. The original plan was obviously we were supposed to have it this week, and so they were going to do this cool big launch party event. And it got, because the game got delayed, they were like, meh, screw it. Remember when 7 Remake got delayed? They said, hey, we have all these launch parties. F it. We've already rented these hotels. We're doing it anyway. So this was happening as well. And they were like, well, we've already done it 3 times. Doing it one more seems legit. So they had their launch party for a game that's not out yet today. So shout outs to KupoCon for Alex, Alan, Nikita, Show, and all the other rad people that keep that going. That was super, super fun.
There is already a clip floating around of Urian's voice actor doing a redone version
of the milkshake. Yes.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Shout outs to somebody that encouraged me to do something even crazier than I normally do. And I did it, and I Icarus'd myself a bit too close to the sun, but I did fly before I fell, so that was kind of neat. I got to do a tech interview for Nintendo of America this week.
Ooh.
And that was super fun. This is also my, what have you been doing since the last show bit as well. But that was super fun. I definitely, like I said, I flew before I fell, but I definitely fell super, super hard. So shout outs to Humility for smacking me in the face as hard as it possibly could at 300,000 feet per second. You can find me on the internet at Instagram at Marvelous Tofu. You can find me on TikTok, but I discovered that I hated creating content on TikTok, so I deleted all of it. So if you're happy with me just reposting your stuff, you can find me there. Otherwise, find me on Instagram or find me in the Discord where I check it every couple of days. Tag me if you want to get a hold of me.
Well, you've actually gone up to every couple of days instead of every couple of weeks, huh?
Well, yeah, I've joined a couple of additional Discords, and I also dropped like 25 Discords I was in, so now it's a lot more manageable. And so now the only ones that I'm in is like MR2's, Initial D memes, Eurobeat, a modeling thing, and this Discord. So it's a lot easier to handle now.
Cool. And of course, I have to shout out everybody who joined us last week during the Extra Life Game Day. Special shout out to everybody who donated and helped us get to almost $1,600 so far this year.
Holy shit.
You generous
I
fucker.
literally was helping someone move. I totally forgot it was Extra Life last week.
No, it's all good.
Sorry.
Well,
No worries.
You weren't able to jump in game either, so not a huge.
That's valid. That's valid.
I
We
figured
grabbed
you-
Anonymous and made him run dungeons with us.
Outstanding.
Yes, it was a good time. So huge shout outs to everybody there. Shout outs to you guys for joining us again. Even though it was a little bit late, Taliz. We'll find out more about it.
For the post show, if you want the story for that, by the way.
Exactly.
Oh my god, yes.
No, like I said, life happens, so it's not a big deal. Just
Life
gotta give you
happens
shit.
harder to some people.
Yep. Just gotta give you a little bit of shit anyway.
No, please do, because oh my god.
And shout out to everybody joining us here live at twitch.tv/PhoenixDown We really appreciate you guys being here and making this part of it kind of more fun. So, and you can find me out on Twitter at PHXDN_KLAUSS. So for my co-hosts, Seyrr Timono, for Taliz Marvelous, the most interesting potato on the planet, I am Klauss Nightbringer, wishing everybody a wonderful evening. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Phoenix Down Radio is a production of PhoenixDownRadio.com and Illusion Productions. Final
Fantasy 14 and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. In-game content for Phoenix Down Radio is the copyright of Square Enix. Open music for Phoenix Down Radio is provided by Guilty Gear Rock You. Check out the Metal Chocobo theme cover and many other music videos at youtube.com/Guilty Gear Rock You. Closing music for this episode is provided by Guitar Wanker 90. Please check out their full version of Matoya's Cave and other rock video game covers at youtube.com/Guitar Wanker 90. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of Phoenix Down Radio and its hosts and do not reflect the views of Square Enix.